Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, we're about to spectate a 2 versus 2 sudden death on the map Green Arabia between my viewers as part of my weekly Twitch TV live streams. If you want to get in on this, you can find my live stream schedule by going to my Twitch page and scrolling underneath the video player there. And if you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you will get updates on when I'm streaming next. Today, it's 2 versus 2 sudden death. Why? Because I'm a working man, I'm super busy, we're all busy too. Most of you are either in school or have a job, or you have a lot of Age of Empires 2 content to watch. So I think it's important that we keep the videos digestible, fast, fun, like Dominion, sudden death, let's go. No one has time for a 1 hour game anymore. Boom! Keep in mind, of course, I'm going to be doing plenty of standard normal games, and there are plenty of slugfests on my channel as well. But for the busy working man, this is the digestible Age of Empires 2 content we need. The adrenaline. It's 2 versus 2 sudden death on Green Arabia. This map has water buffaloes. It's Tokaraka, or what did you call him, Mr. Mitrus? Like Torpoka? It's Tokaraka and Pete. Tokaraka will be our orange goths, teaming up with Pete, the red Burmese. And on the opposing team, it's Texas Dude playing as the Blue Persians, and T-West playing as the Teal Italians. It's the Blues versus the Warm Colors. The match of the ages, the dream team. Texas Dude claims he's the only person on the internet who claims that he's worse than he seems. Which I admire that honesty, if that is indeed true. Which means that he's going to be the best player in this game. Most people on the internet will tell you that they're like, you know, everybody is legend rank in Hearthstone basically on Reddit. But Texas Dude's like, no, I'm probably 1700, so maybe this will actually balance out. We'll have to see. As far as the civs go, I'll go over them as soon as I briefly explain what sudden death is. In sudden death, players can only... So you can't build any additional town centers, and if you lose your town center, you lose the game. And we're playing on Arabia, which is a fairly open and aggressive map, so hopefully that this match is quick enough that I still have time to set up for my friends. It's one of my close friends' last day in town before he heads up to college, and I might not see him for like a year or so. Having him over today. Gonna play some Splatoon 2, some Age of Empires 2, if you guys have heard of that game. It's pretty fun. I've been playing Age of Empires 2 for a reasonably long time, you know, since I was like 7 years old. So it's pretty good. Electron asks, why no Hearthstone streams? Excited for Knights of the Frozen Throne? I'm so excited for Knights of the Frozen Throne. Knights of the Frozen Throne. I will do more Hearthstone streams in the future, Electron, but I am very busy with work. And during the summer, it's like I perpetually have the flu from my allergies. It's super debilitating, so I don't have the time nor energy to stream that frequently. I mean, I still do, and I try to upload as much as I can. I will do some content on Knights of the Frozen Throne, yes. I'm incredibly excited for it. Hearthstone is probably the game I play the most now, which may repulse you, but if it repulses you, then... I don't know, I can't imagine why people think it's okay to judge other people for playing games you don't like. I say power to you. If you unironically like Cory in the House, and you think Cory in the House is a good game, power to you. I want you to feel welcome in this community. I support you. Just because you play good games like Dota 2 doesn't mean you can't play bad games as well and enjoy them. I play Dota, League of Legends, and Heroes of the Storm, and that doesn't make me a bad person. The people I've killed makes me a bad person. I'm having too much fun with this. Rafaloa says, do you plan on streaming Age of Mythology? If you mean Extended Edition, I can think of no worse hell. If you mean the original, it's on the table. I'm a huge fan of the original Age of Mythology. I think it's an amazing game, and the Extended Edition didn't do it justice. Age of Mythology is actually one of my favorite games of all time, and one of my favorite RTS games of all time. What is with the Boar Lures today? These guys are so... Wow, he didn't lose his villager. Not bad, not bad. Everybody, please give Texas a seems good for me. If everybody can either give him a seems good, I think that it would help the situation out a lot. You know, I don't know. Basically, I think it's absurd to judge other people for playing other games that you don't enjoy. I think that's absolutely insane. And I also think it's insane to hold yourself to a specific game and just say, like, oh, because I play Halo, I can't play Call of Duty. That's ridiculous. Why would you arbitrarily limit yourself like that? No one gives a shit. Like, Corey in the House, it's the best game ever. Whoa, seeker of all formulas, though, pushing it to the edge, saying, my favorite game is Metroid Other M Kappa. Ooh. Ooh. Thank you, Moonstar, for the $5. He says, making up for always watching your YouTube channel with ad block. Keep up the great work, Rez. Well, thank you so much, Moonstar. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely rely on the additional income from YouTube and Twitch to help pay the bills and to also just enjoy my life and travel around and whatnot. So I appreciate it. And I know that ads are annoying as hell, so thank you. That's more than worth a lot. Like, if you want to use ad block guilt-free, if you send me $1 like every 1 to 2 months or something like that, that's basically the equivalent, so. And you never have to watch ads again. It's amazing. All of these Rhino lures today have just been so messy, but will Pete salvage this one? I think he will. The Rhino just stops. And that's play of the game. Rafa Lois asks, what do you think of AoE 3? I think Age of Empires 3 is a good, fun game that doesn't feel like an Age of Empires game to me. Now, I also want to be clear that my opinion on a game shouldn't influence your opinion of it, or at least it shouldn't, I mean, it can influence it, but it shouldn't dictate it. If you happen to like Age of Empires 3, it's still okay for you to like it. It's still okay for you to think that it's an Age of Empires game, for example. So, I'm really just trying to change the way that dialogues happen on the internet, where people stop judging each other for playing other games and stop treating it like it's a competition. So, this is my personal opinion, is I think it's a good, fun game to play with an amazing soundtrack. I think Age of Empires 3, in my personal opinion, has a fantastic soundtrack. Stephen Rippey, I think, is a god amongst composers. I find the game fun to play. I don't think it feels like an Age of Empires game to me, though. It just feels like a good game. What is this unit path thing? Oh my god! Someone clipped this. What? It's not that bad in AOC, is it? Huh? Okay, well, that definitely wasn't the shortest path. So yes, I like Age of Empires 3. It feels too different from the predecessors to me. I think that Age of Mythology feels like is almost a textbook definition in my mind of a spin-off game done right. That feels like it's true to the previous games in the franchise, Age of Empires 1 and Age of Empires 2. It feels similar enough, but it's a twist on it. It's a spin-off done right. And I would basically cite that in game design as a good spin-off. Jeez! Don't do this to me! Aoe2 HD! Duh. Come on! Yeah, so I just... God... I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I don't have time to restart this game. Tokoroki disconnected. There's no way we can restore. This is over, so I'll just use this as a brief opportunity to just answer questions. Age of Empires 3 just feels too different to me. It's like Microsoft pushed them to go in a direction that I don't recognize with AoE 3, and I think they ended up making a good game that just happens to be called Age of Empires 3. So I totally understand why Age of Empires 3 has a community and why people play it and enjoy it, because I think it's a good game. It's just that I think that the rift between the communities is because Age of Empires 3, it's just like they built a good RTS game and just slapped Age of Empires 3 on it. That's my personal opinion. They just slapped it on there. Age of Mythology feels like one of the family. Age of Empires 3 is just, you know, it's fun. I enjoy it. I don't know if I'll ever stream it. It's on the table. Let's see. Someone asked me. I'll just answer questions for like 10 minutes. Then I have to go. Raphael says, do you think there'll be a new expansion for AoE2? Signs point to yes. If you look at the Steam library, something's being worked on. Why am I spectating the guy who's dead? Something is clearly being worked on. But I don't know. There's like an app that's being worked on, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a DLC. Maybe it's a campaign pack. I get asked the question on AoE3 a lot. Chibrino asks, will you ever stream, play AoE1 Definitive Edition? Yes, I will very likely stream and play AoE1 Definitive Edition. You know what I'll do? I'm gonna just change this into a brief little QA video, where I just question and answer. I'm not going to call this Age of Empires gameplay or anything, there's barely any gameplay here, so... This is your opportunity now, before this game ends, because this game's going to be terrible and end very quickly, to just ask me some interesting questions. More often than not, I answer the same 5 questions all the time, and this is bad because there will one day, it's possible that the technology exists in which there are a bunch of evil clones of me that are out there, and you won't be able to identify the real one because the only question that you've been asking me is, what's my favorite civ in Age of Empires 2 and what's my opinion on AoE 3? I think that there are more creative questions we can ask. That way you can differentiate between me and a Terminator. So, ask away. This will just be a de facto Q&A video, I guess. Savage Akano Himejima. Absolutely savage. I mean, there's absolutely no way that Pete can win this game, but I mean, this is a pretty sick rush. I mean, maybe he just kills TOS before Texas Dude wakes up. I don't know. Such an aggressive forward and a tower, watchtower too. On 300 asks, what's my favorite cereal? I'm gonna say Lucky Charms, but I like a lot of cereal. You know, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is good too. Raffalo says, do you think there's a chance of AoE4 ever happening? Slim, but possible. Let me put it this way, Raffaloist. Do I think there's a chance of Age of Empires 4 happening and it being good? I don't know. Because if there is an Age of Empires 4, I haven't heard of it yet, and that really concerns me. Because, considering I would expect hopefully to be maybe involved in testing and providing feedback in some way, and no one I've talked to has heard of this Age of Empires 4, if there is one, so... If AoE 4 ever happens, I hope it's good. That's my main concern. I think it's likely that it happens at some time in my lifetime. I can't fathom why we haven't had one so far. Microsoft is surely seeing the dollar signs at this point. I mean, AoE2 HD sold over 4 million copies, and I mean, based off the scope of development, it doesn't feel to me like it had a giant cost associated with it, but I might be wrong. So... Oh, really? Papiria Pie? Okay. So what, is this going to be a tournament between Pete and TOS, and then he has to take on Texas Dude at the end? Okay. Alright, I'll cast this game and answer some questions simultaneously. Reaper CH says, do you believe in random events, or do you think random events are determined, but we don't have enough information to explain it? That is a really good question I don't know the answer to. I was hoping for interesting personal questions. Ah, it's true, Washi. That's true. Well, most imposters we can assume will be lazy. And, you know, I've had questions from people, I've had YouTube comments from people who I can only assume watch my videos with the audio muted. I can only assume. I'm trying to think of a good example that's singling out someone, because I really don't want to do that, but I get comments sometimes that blow my mind, and they're not from trolls. They're like from people who must have typed the comment within the first 30 seconds of the video while I was still in the lobby. You know, they'll ask something, you know, this is an example I made up, but this happens to me, where I'll post a tutorial on the Night Rush strategy, and I'll get a comment, unironically, from some dude who's like, why didn't you make Knights, lol? Yeah, I got one in a game where I was playing Aztecs, and the guy was like, why'd you never make Jaguar Warriors? But later in the game I do make Jaguar Warriors, so he just didn't watch the video the whole way through. I am excited for the upcoming Metroid game, Seeker of All Formulas. I'm a big fan of the franchise. I don't play the campaigns much, Moonsara. I don't watch the NFL Hungry Halberdier because I have really severe allergies and asthma, so I kind of gravitated towards esports as opposed to real sports. Oh, thank you for Fermented Herring. He says, I'd like to know your age since I think you're doing a really good job. I'm almost 23 years old. Almost. I'd like to see the Indians nerfed. Reaper CH asks, what balance changes would you like to see in Age of Empires 2 HD Edition? I'd like to see the Indians nerfed a little bit. I'd like to see the Italians nerfed a little bit. I'd like to see the Karambit Warrior given +1 attack damage and the Castle Age. I think the Organ Gun needs something. I would be really disappointed if the next balance patch has nothing for the Portuguese. Like, I think the Maggers need some buffs, and there are some things I'm inevitably not going to list. Esports not a real sport? I'll have you know, these electronic athletes, they've got some legitimacy. I do play some rhythm games like Crypt of the Necrodancer, Spooky Magician, Audio Surf, etc. I am not still going to school super fishy. I currently work full-time at a gaming startup called Outpost Games. Thank you for your sub, by the way, super fishy. I work full-time at a gaming startup called Outpost Games, and we're working on a game and a platform. The platform is Hero.tv, and the game is SOS. There's done a video on SOS, actually, on my YouTube page. You're welcome to check out. Maybe someone will link it. Oh, I know you, Drawn. I find it... I walk a fine line... behind every joke is a grain of truth, and I think that esports has some legitimacy, but like the over-the-top dubstep ads catered for game... Now, maybe I'm out of touch. I will concede maybe I'm horribly out of touch, but the like dubstep ads about like esports where they're blasting the worst music I've ever heard in my life, and they're just flashing all these big trophies and gigantic stadiums is just absurd to me. I went to the Dota 2 International twice, and I really enjoyed it, and I've been to BlizzCon twice as well. I love going to these big gaming tournaments, but those videos that try to portray it like this... Those ads specifically just boggle my mind. The Mountain Dew ads, I just don't. I don't get it at all. I am a big esports fan, though. And by the way, when I talk about judging other people for playing games... Oh, see, he said he wouldn't interfere. About not judging people for playing other games, it's because I keep getting comments from people telling me, Resonance22, why do you play that shitty game called Heroes of the Storm? You could be playing Dota 2. Well, they're different games, for starters, and also, no one is allowed to tell me that until they tweet at me a picture of a mousepad signed by Pyrian Flax at least 3 times. Because my mousepad, I had it signed by Pyrian Flax on 2 separate locations, in person! Do you have a picture with Luminous, you filthy casual? You can't tell me to play Dota. I've probably played more Dota than those guys! So yeah, I just always found that funny. Clearly with the HOTS video too, like people were like, you should play Dota! It's like the whole point of that video is me talking about my experiences playing Dota. So yeah, anyway, it's just a... And they're different games. I like them for different reasons. It's all cool. As far as what's going on in this actual match goes, T-West is doing a good job defending its Pete's insane aggression, but like this game, they're both in the feudal age, so you gotta kill the town center to win. It's cool to see Kanye Twest actually sending some archers forward here. This is actually what you should do strategically, so now no one can tell me that I didn't actually give any valuable advice or commentary during this game. Joke's on you. Anyone that says this didn't get that far in the video. When you're being really, really aggressively... Oof, that's cheating. When you're being really, really aggressively forwarded like this, and your opponent has like 3 watchtowers on you, he even has the blacksmith forward, one of the great ways to come back is to try and keep yourself alive with static defense and counter units like such, and then go forward with a couple archers, go straight into his eco, and then get slung by your cheating ally. Shame on you. Yeah, but without the sling, this is a good idea, because now what you're doing is you're crippling Pete's offensive. It's very difficult for him to actually defend himself because his buildings are so far forward. That's one of the many things that makes Age of Empires such an interesting game, because it's full of these strategic trade-offs. So yeah. Chadyanko says, what are good... Or Chadyanko says, what are good beginner civs? And are campaigns helpful for new players to improve? I feel like the campaigns are not super helpful for new players to improve just because no one plays a 75 population online, and they put you in situations that, I mean, you can learn from them for sure, but they put you in situations that don't often come up online. They put you in unique, novel situations. That's the whole point of the campaigns. So, yes, you can learn some from them, but I would recommend just playing versus the AoeII in skirmish mode. Specifically, I'd recommend playing versus the Resin Spot custom AI on the Steam Workshop. On, like, easiest to start. Start real low. Nice! Got up to Castlage. Nice, nice, nice. As far as good beginner civs go, you know, I would pick something like the Mongols, I think. They have a very strong economy, although hunting is difficult for newer players to grasp, so you can just mill the deer to start, that's fine. You know, Mass Mangudai, you should do pretty well. Spamming infantry as a Goss can do fairly well. It depends on what map you're playing, but I think the Goths have a fairly straightforward game plan, which is Huskarls plus Halberdiers till you win the game. and survive till you get to that point. Massing up Frank's Knights, assuming you're playing an AoE2 HD, is a pretty straightforward way to win games too. Massive Brits Archers perk too. Yes. Yeah, Morat, the Huns are interesting for new players, but my problem with the Huns for new players is that while they are a really straightforward civilization to play, you make cav archers, you make knights, and they have a good economy, new players need to get used to building houses. I also think that the Persians just have a strong economy and a decent tech tree, so... just watch my Night Rush tutorial. Like, it doesn't matter what civ you're playing. If you watch my Fast Castle Age tutorial on the Night Rush, then it doesn't matter what civ you're playing, because the build order works for all of them. And you're like most of the civs play pretty similarly. You should think about it from a what civs should I not try and learn the game as opposed to what civs should I learn to play it as. Like, don't play as the Chinese at first, I think, because the Chinese have a very tough start. Ready to yes, did you ever steal anything as a kid? And how do you cope with the guilt? I don't recall stealing anything as a kid, and I would not be able to cope with the guilt. So that's kind of an interesting personal question. I honestly don't get asked interesting questions a lot. People don't ask my player history or anything. People don't really... I don't know, it's just always the, it's the same old questions, like, what are some good beginner civs, or how can I learn the game? What do I think of AoE3? This is turning out to be a decent game. It's funny because T-West is getting slung, and yet is, like, it's still actually a close game. Like, Pete's still winning. He's in the castle age. He has fucking guard tower. That's nice. This is one of the... You also can't say I didn't give any valuable advice, because this is also an excellent situation to get guard tower in. This is one of the few situations where you would ever get guard tower, because you have all these forward watchtowers. Guard tower is an extremely cheap technology. Great focus fire here. Wow, okay. I mean, I actually don't mind the Texas 2 slinging, honestly, because it's keeping it kind of interesting. I honestly don't mind. I am just joking about the cheating. This is a great way to get... Okay, look, guard tower is such a cheap technology. Rendering. Yeah, it's 100 food, 250 wood. That's absolutely worth it. There are very few times where I've seen guard tower utilized correctly, but this is absolutely one of them, so, yeah. The only bad beginner civ is really the Chinese. You should absolutely not learn the game as the Chinese. It's just going to be really hard to learn. Because the Chinese start with no food and 6 villagers, and they just require, takes a lot of getting used to. Armando asks if there's a Mrs. Res. Hashtag personal question. There was. I mean, I wasn't ever married, but... I had a girlfriend for a while when I initially started streaming, but I am currently single. Username not found asks, when are you going to play a game again? See, that question makes me think that you haven't watched my stream recently. It sounds like you're making the assumption here that, like, you just came back after, like, 3 years. I played last week, and I played, like, the week before that, and the week before that, and the week before that. I think I played the last 5 weeks in a row. So... The answer to when I'm going to play again, it actually might be a little while, because I don't really have that much fun doing it these days, but again implies it's been a long time. Let's see. Reaper CH says you have a voice that sounds older than Doubt. How old is Doubt? Do people often think you're older? Yes, they do. Mender asks, what was your first game as a kid that brought you to gaming? So my first game as a kid was a game called Looney Tunes Carrot Crazy for the... See, this is something that a Res Imposter would not be able to answer. It was Looney Tunes Carrot Crazy for the Game Boy. It was like Game Boy Pocket or something like that. I don't know what it was called back then. I really didn't like the game. I thought it was super frustrating, but my parents taught me discipline. Wow, you just got bodied by all those towers there and those elite skirms. But, you know, one of the ways that my parents taught me discipline was by... You know, making sure I only get a game every now and then, so I had to pick it super wisely and do my research and think really carefully about it, and that shaped me a lot as a person. Looney Tunes Carrot Crazy, I think my parents bought that for me because I liked the Looney Tunes when I was a kid. I was like 5 years old or something like that. Really didn't like that game. I don't know if that game actually sucked, but I didn't enjoy it. The second game I played was like Pac-Man, also didn't enjoy it. I think the game that turned me into someone who loves video games was actually Age of Empires 2, which is one of the first games I'd ever played. I spent a lot of my childhood... that was a good question. spent a lot of my childhood playing Age of Empires 2 and watching my dad playing it. Like, I grew up with this game. This is my childhood. This game is my life. And that's why I take it so personally, and sometimes I get salty when I see the game not doing well. And people giving me unnecessary amounts of shit. I've dedicated my life to this game for good reason, because it means a lot to me. And I've been shilling this game to my friends since I was in, like, 1st grade. And I'm still shilling it today. It's a good, fun game. It's wholesome. Alright, now you can stop the slinging. It's all good. So Age of Empires 2 is actually the game that turned me to gaming. It's really been a driving force behind my entire life. Besides that, I mean, Pokemon Silver was a really good one that caught my attention. Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland. Those were fairly important. Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons and Ages were really big ones for me. Sorry, Melanie, the chat's moving fast. I'm trying to cast. If there's you can ask it again. Favorite non-AoE game? Ask Super Fishy. It's hard for me to narrow it down. I can give you like a list of things. Kirby's Return to Dreamland is one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of the few 10s that I give a game. It's just perfect. You know, there are games like Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. The World Ends With You is my favorite RPG. So if you're a man of culture, you'll know what game that is. My favorite RPG. Really like Soul Silver and Heart Gold for Pokemon games. Big fan of Hearthstone. No point dragging this out, okay. GG, well played. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering. There are a lot of games. Guild Wars 2 is really good. I probably missed a couple of them. Ascension is my favorite board game. Let's see. Oh yeah, Dark Paladin says you should also not learn to play the game is the Chimera. Agreed. Agreed. Oh, no problem, username not found. So, sorry, I may have misunderstood your question, so... Are you asking when I'm going to stream again? I stream every week. My live stream schedule is below. And if you follow the stream, you'll get an email notification. It's the same time every Saturday. As far as me playing goes, I don't know. I will play again later this year. I just don't know what stream I'll be physically playing. I'm casting, I'm spectating right now, so I'm always spectating games. Sometimes I play. And if you really want to see me play, I have a ton of those on my YouTube channel, and I will still play in the future. I do not listen to satanic black metal, Ron, but I do kind of like melodic death metal a bit. It's not really my type of music, but Soilwork is a really good band, and it's really not my type of music. I understand why people like it, but Soilwork is good. Chad Yanko asks, favorite book? I haven't read enough books, I think, to provide a good answer to that question. I don't read enough books. ABC Melanie asks, what is your favorite comedy show, series, film, and why? Oh, thank you so much, Robo, for the 19-month resub. My CLR browser has crashed. Hey, you know that I like Monty Python, although I know that you're an even bigger Monty Python fan, but that's not going to be my favorite. That would be difficult for me to answer that. I'm just going to name off a couple. I really like Seinfeld a lot. I think that Seinfeld... Like, there's a voice inside all of us, I think, that compels us to act like Larry David. And I think that life is all about fighting that voice. So, I'm a big fan of Seinfeld. I like 30 Rock. I like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The episode of Always Sunny... There are 2 episodes of Always Sunny that really speak to me. The one where Mac and Dennis move to the countryside. That episode's too real. And the one with the health inspector is great. Is absolutely great. I like the movie UHF. I don't know if it aged as well as I remember it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a big Seinfeld guy. 30 Rock's good too. I do like Lord of the Rings, but I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan, Eddie Hunter, and that's not because Lord of the Rings isn't awesome. That's just because I haven't dedicated enough of my time to it, basically. Lord of the Rings is absolutely awesome. And yeah, Ladner, Pokemon Silver was a huge defining thing in my childhood. It's just so... It's also, Pokemon Silver to me, Secret of All Formulas, is one of the perfect sequels. It's a sequel done right, in my respect, in every way. It just feels like it was just such a huge improvement. And it just took what made the original Red, Blue, and Yellow so good to me, and it just made it better, and just added more stuff, and it, oh god, I love Pokemon Silver so much. Oh, so much. So much. AoE3 Fishless, in your opinion, what are the other great RTS games like AoE2? So, I don't think there are enough, or really any games like AoE2 out there, unfortunately, but as far as other great RTS games go, I'm not going to list a lot of them because I haven't played a lot of them. I have a very particular taste in it. I like Age of Mythology, Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, but besides like Age of Mythology and Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, they're fairly different games. And there are a lot of other RTS games. I know people like the Total War series and whatnot that are just amazing. Hungry Hellbird asks, do you think the AoE2 systems are currently mostly balanced, or that there are nerfs and buffs that should be made? There are nerfs and buffs that need to be made. I listed a couple earlier. I think it is mostly balanced, but it could be improved. I have not watched Silicon Valley, but people tell me I would appreciate it. I love startup jokes. One of my favorite things is just making fun of the tech culture words. So I like to attach, data-driven and, at the end of basically every sentence if I can. Whenever someone tells me about something like, oh, Resonance, are you excited for Splatoon 2? I'll be like, yes, but will it be on the cloud? Hungry Halberdier, I think that Reddit is an environment that encourages circle jerking, and the threads were mostly done by one guy, and people just jump on the bandwagon. That being said, I do think that the maggers do need a buff. Yes, they do. Okay, stick around, guys. I will host Mem's stream in 20 minutes, and we can wish him a happy birthday, but it might be the end of his birthday now? I don't know. I think that the maggers need a buff, yes. And I'm very excited for the Virtual Cons release of Gold and Silver. Ah, okay, Melanie. Just, yeah, Gold and Silver are just so good. Yeah, I hear Rise of Nations is good. I actually like Clash Royale. I actually think Clash Royale is a good game. Hellbear Deer. And I mean, it's one of those games where I feel like it's really well designed and interesting, but is heavily limited by the fact that it's a phone game that's just riddled with microtransactions. I've never played Total War or Cheater of the Whole. I don't like most RTS games besides AoE2, because Total War is nothing like Age of Empires 2. It's a great game. I mean, they both involve men who wear awesome armor stabbing each other, but they're different games. Sensei asks, what helps you out the most from your followers slash subscribers? That would be, leaving me, likes on my YouTube videos, comments, meaningful, constructive feedback, particularly, like, constructive, positive feedback, like telling me the things that you like that I do specifically, so I can keep doing them. That really helps. The thing that helps me the most for my followers and subscribers, though, is honestly supporting the content that I do for games beyond just Age of Empires 2 means the most to me, and actively going out of your way to do that makes me smile. And it's for my own sanity. It is good for Age of Empires 2 because it exposes people from a wide variety of other gaming communities to Age of Empires 2. A lot of people grew up with the AoE 2. They know the game, they're familiar with the franchise, but they haven't played it since they were kids. And if only they knew that the game was so popular now, and still had so much life in it, and there was still so much more to do. So when you take the time to support that content for games beyond Age of Empires 2, you're helping build the AoE 2 community. You're also helping me just keep my sanity, branch out, grow the channel, keep things interesting for the people who used to play a lot of Age of Empires 2, but don't anymore. So it's extremely important, and I wish that more people would do that. And if listening to me now inspires more people to take the time to watch Heroes with Friends or something like that, I appreciate it. Yeah, and also, sharing my content around. I feel like I have very little presence on Reddit, for example. So there are a lot of things that you can do to help. And just sticking around, being awesome, being a positive, wonderful person. It's a great question. I take pride in the quality of my community. I think we have one of the best communities on Twitch and on YouTube, hands down. I want to keep it that way. So you guys just seeing the familiar faces and the new faces, all being wonderful, positive people, creating that environment where people can have a nice day is important to me. Night, Googly. Hello, Evergreen Gamer. I have played EU4 Washi. I played it with Alaroon for a little bit and Tislana. It's a really good game, but it's not quite my type of game. But it's really good, yes. I have played Crusader Kings, but I haven't played either of them enough to really have a good opinion. They certainly have a lot of DLC. Sensi says, do more Star Wars like Battlegrounds. I answer this question a lot. It's not that I don't like the game, it's that it's really hard to do good content for it. The game does not... it goes out of sync on Voobly all the time. If you try and play with bots, it's impossible to balance teams because the community is really small. And it's really hard to render the game because of the way the graphics are set up. So, yeah, I like the game, but we'll see. Could happen. I did not watch any GDQ. I should have, though. The Kirby game I gave a 10 out of 10 was Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Is one of the best games I've ever played, hands down. I almost give Kirby Superstar Ultra a 10 out of 10 as well. It's close. I think that Kirby is one of my favorite game series of all time. I like Kirby, Ace Attorney, Pokemon, etc. Those are all really good. Armando asks, am I an anime fan? I would like to watch more anime. I feel like I don't watch enough anime. And I need to know where to start. Kigo kept telling me for the longest time to watch Boku no Pico, so I guess that's on the to-do list. What was the name of the last anime I watched? What was it called? It was really good, but I can't figure out the name of it. I did watch a little bit of Little Witch Academia, but that wasn't it. There was this... This one was like only 12 episodes long. It was a short one. It was actually very good. I'm a big fan of the Hayao Miyazaki movies. I think Explorers of Sky is excellent, Lediak. I also think it's a sequel done right. I think that the first games were really good, but they were flawed in a lot of ways. And I'd go into detail, but I don't know if anyone wants to hear that. But I think it was just a huge improvement. Like, it just did what the first game did, but better. I think Explorers of Sky was great. I think the game is, like, way too similar to Explorers of Time and Darkness, of course, but I refer to them in the same way. Like, they had a much better soundtrack. The soundtrack in Blue Mystery Dungeon and Red Mystery Dungeon were super repetitive. Like, if I have to listen to, like, Lapis Cave or Uproar Forest or whatever that was called one more time, I'm gonna go crazy! And I think it just had a much better flow, plot to it. They polished up the gameplay. It felt like less BS. The dungeon length was much better. I think that, you know, going through dungeons like Magma Cavern was not that fun. I love Zelda games. I love Zelda games. But I like the top-down Zeldas the most, but, you know, obviously I enjoy Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. They're amazing games. Wind Waker's easily one of my favorites of all time. Yeah, I have seen Full Metal Alchemist. It's just been a long time since I've watched it, so it's been a while. It's great to have you, Seeker of All Formulas. God, I'm not going to remember the name of that anime, but it was really, really good. And it was so good. It was one of, like, the top rated ones on Crunchyroll or something like that. So I've decided to add a quick little amendum to this video where I talk just a little bit about my history as an Age of Empires 2 player, because I think there are a lot of new faces that might not be familiar with my background. Some of you who have been here since the dawn of time, the veterans of the channel, are probably familiar with my player history, but it's a topic that people don't often ask me about, and I think I have a lot of interesting stories that I'd love to tell about some of the most epic games online, where I've come from as a player, and how we got here today. I'm only going to talk about it briefly here because I can talk about it more in the future, but I started playing online on GameSpy Arcade primarily. I played a little bit on Zone, but I played a ton on GameSpy Arcade, and I have a million great stories about that if you guys are interested in hearing, then I encourage you to ask me more awesome, interesting questions during my live stream, like some of the ones that I got here. I love answering these types of things. So I played a lot on GameSpy Arcade for years, and then I moved over to IGZ, which is now known as Voobly. I played a lot of ranked games on Voobly, and I climbed all the way up to around 1680, so 1,680 ELO on Voobly. So that's where a lot of my knowledge of the game comes from, is my experience playing on that ranked ladder. Unlike the AoE2 HD ladder, I don't play much ranked HD because, well, it's super easily exploitable on a lot of levels, and I don't find it particularly fun, so when I was going through my ranked binge, I did that on Voobly, and if I wanted to play ranked games, that's probably where I'd do it. Nowadays, though, I generally prefer to cast and study games rather than play ranked competitive ladder, especially now that I'm a bit busier than I used to be. So that's where a lot of my knowledge of the game comes from, is my background on Voobly. I was a member of a wide variety of different clans. I was in the Ornlu clan for a while, for example. We played a lot of scrims, and I did a lot of ranked laddering, and that was a ton of fun. I really miss my old clanmates. They were just so awesome. And, you know, one of the reasons why I took like a short break from Age of Empires 2 is when my clanmates kind of moved on to other games. So I was like, you know, guess I'll play some Dota for a while. And now that AoE2 HD is back, I'm back in business. It's great to see this game continue to grow, and I'm happy to be here. And of course, though, I also get a lot of my knowledge of the game from just my the absurd amount of Age of Empires 2 that I watch. You know, I downloaded thousands and thousands of replays just to study them so I could learn everything I could about Age of Empires 2. I love to study and cast games. That's where my passion is in like learning metagames, the deeper strategy behind them. And part of my channel, one of the main points, is taking these difficult to understand, complicated metagame concepts and breaking them down in a way that is more approachable for the average player. I had a lot of trouble learning Age of Empires 2, and it took me a long time to really become comfortable with the game, and I don't want anyone to have that much difficulty as I did in both Age of Empires 2 and in all games. My goal is to break it down, make it more approachable for everybody. So anyway, that's my quick little amendment about my player history, so if anyone ever asks about that, you can also answer that now. And who's the funniest person from the AoE2 community that I've met in person? Asked Moonsaro. Funniest person from the AoE2 community that I've met in person. Well, I haven't met that many people from the AoE2 community in person, unfortunately, but I will be at TwitchCon with T90. If you do want to meet me and T90 in person, then you can do that by going to TwitchCon. Just go to my social media and you can find a referral link from me. It'd probably have to be a Forgotten Empire staff member, but I don't know who I would consider to be the funniest. I mean, a lot of them are funny. I mean, I would just list FE staff you don't know, but almost everybody at FE is funny. Yeah, I think that, I guess Wodog's funny. So we'll go with Wodog. I have seen Death Note. I thought Death Note was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. I don't really eat Taco Bell that often, Kyle. Yeah, I just don't eat Taco Bell that often. Ouch, lad, yeah. Sky Tower is one of my favorite game songs of all time. I mean, if you can't tell from watching my stream, I'm a huge video game soundtrack buff. I think soundtracks are everything in a game, and one of the most powerful songs in a game to me ever was Sky Tower in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, which is funny considering that that soundtrack was so inconsistent. Like, the songs were either horrible and really repetitive and lazy, or they were like Sky Tower and just brought tears to my eyes. Just so good. I think it's difficult for me to describe the plotline of that very clearly, but yeah, I don't know. I actually just butcher it, and it wouldn't help. I felt like it was called Escape Something, but I know it's not. What was it called? Don't know. Figure that out later. I did like Code Geass, yeah, I did, and I have seen that. I have seen some anime. I just don't watch enough of it, to be honest. I should. Fun fact, one of my favorite games of all time is also Gone the Legends Dark Legacy. And my favorite game song of all time is actually Sky Shipyard from that game. Huh. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Seeker of All Formulas. I hear that I've heard some complaints about the anime, in that it may have been a step down from X and Y, but I haven't watched the Pokemon show in a long time. I probably should. I really liked Pokemon Generations. I thought that was surprisingly fantastic. I think anime is really, really fascinating. Do that. Welcome to Stream, the AoeII. I'm about at the end of my Q&A before I have to go. Yeah, I should watch more. But I spend a lot of my time, you know, watching Twitch streams and AoE stuff, so. Buried Relic is very good washi. I'm a big Mystery Dungeon fan. Pokemon Diamond Lake theme is lit. Absolutely, Tomodachi. Well, that's good to hear, Seeker of All Formulas. It felt that way in the game, too. Alright, well, what I'm going to do is I'll post this on YouTube then as a Q&A video, because that's basically what it is. The quality of the game was rather poor at best. I encourage most of you, though, to stick around, so don't close your browser window, because I'm going to host MembTV in approximately 10 minutes. I'm going to host him, and I want all of you to go to his chat and wish him a happy birthday. Because I know Mem's casting style isn't for everyone, but there are few people that work as hard as him, and I'm proud to call Mem my friend, man. He's a legitimately good person, and I don't know, it's atypical on the internet of when you deal with like all sorts of casters, personalities, etc., and you meet someone as actually good-natured and wholesome as Mem. Like he's a good guy. Of course, Primal Day Algaboss theme is amazing. I mean, these are things I play during the break. I love the break music. Mem is going to be back, Authentic Rebel, in approximately 10 minutes. 10 minutes is not his birthday? Well, I wish him a happy belated birthday. 7 minutes. 7 minutes until Mem's birthday. Yeah, and then, you know, we just keep the interesting questions rolling. And again, I appreciate the support. You know, the thing that people can do the most to help me out is to support the content that I do for games beyond just Age of Empires 2. And just help keep our community awesome. Like, those are things that really help. Oh, is this stream, is he live? It's online now? Fantastic! So, definitely wish him a happy birthday. Mem is from Spain, Arbosh. Alright, well, anyway, thank you so much for watching the stream today, guys, supporting the channel and just being awesome. It's great to have all of you. When I started this channel, the whole point was I wanted to try and do things differently and try and be the channel that I would want to watch. And this meant that actually caring about my viewers and getting to know each of them on a personal level. And that's why I take the time to greet everybody, and I do recognize every single one of you. Anyone who, if you post a comment, I do read it, and it does make my day. I don't have the time to respond to every single one of them, but when you leave a nice comment, you do make me smile. And my goal here is to provide that kind of outlet for people, where I think that everyone's life is stressful, and I want to provide that escape. Just an environment where people can smile, no matter how awful their week was. And I feel pretty good about how I've done about that, but there's always room for improvement. So of course, keep it wonderful. I'm going to host Mem's stream now. Wish him a happy birthday. And I'll see you all next week. If you're a Twitch subscriber, feel free to whisper one of my mods for a link to the Discord, by the way. Love to have you. Thank you, son. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, again, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time. Links to everything you need in the video description below. Tutorials, you name it, as well as links to videos and other games. Thank you.